it's the themes of masculinity and the themes of feminine and the programs that we have around them. And each one of those programs is going to have a shadow program. So if you've got masculine showing up in your life in a really positive way, that's not to say that you won't have a counter to that showing up in your life. So all masculine positivity will have a masculine negativity, and you'll inhabit those ends of those spectrums as well in different relationships at different times, regardless of what gender you are, because we have both energies in us. So you have to learn, how am I showing up? And again, looking at it through the lens of masculine and feminine is a way to really have it make sense, because we're so binary, right? We have to think about things in contrast here in order to understand them. But truthfully, they have nothing to do with gender. It's just the contrast and the reflection. So again, it's helping you see that you need something polar in order to experience both ends of the spectrum. If we're only in light, we never experience shadow. And if we're only in shadow, then we never experience light. So if you're only in masculine, then you never experience feminine. And if you're only in feminine, then you never experience masculine. And you can see when people resist experiencing one or the other and get really far out on the end of the spectrum that is masculine in a very toxic way, or really far out in the end of the spectrum that is feminine in a really toxic way. And then you can see how at certain times in your life and in regards to certain situations, you would embody some of the traits of the far out end masculine side as well as the far out end feminine side, fully based upon your programming, nothing to do with your gender, just how it's showing up in regards to that relationship and what's being mirrored for you. So that's really truly understanding how to bring a lot of balance into your space, is recognizing when you're where you're out of balance. And because we use those two themes, masculine and feminine, to describe so many things here, there are going to be a lot of base programming involved. So a lot of the themes that you're repeating, a lot of the programs that you're repeating, a lot of the programs that you were installed with in childhood, those programs have a base code of masculine and feminine, regardless of how you think about it intellectually at this point in your life. It's just part of the programming here. It's a binary existence. There has to be a counter. So again, it's going to be showing up in your life all the time. It's always going to be reflected back and forth on one end of the spectrum or the other. You'll see it reflected in the people that you meet and the relationships that you have. And it's all run through that lens and that program of those two primary relationships with your parents. It's a topic that is like challenging to discuss because we have so much wrapped up around it, because of how much association that we've all placed upon it when it comes to identity, instead of just recognizing it as the contrast, seeing it as the night to the day and the day to the night. It's just the contrast for the experience. So you choose which energy you want to, and it wouldn't even be mainly embody. It's just like, if you can imagine, trying to imagine what the lived experience is like for the other side. The lived experience of the feminine side of the spectrum is very, very different than the masculine side of the spectrum. And then when you go down the rabbit hole of understanding the patriarchy, and then you understand a real base program again that we all have, then you understand that if one end is toxic masculinity and the other end is healthy masculinity, it definitely feels like there's not a lot of healthy masculinity that it exists. Is it because we're embodying so much toxic masculinity? Or is it by chance that we're embodying so much toxic femininity? It becomes a dance of, because you have to learn how to balance both in your life. And you're going to have a program around both. And some programs are really good, y'all. That's the other thing that we forget to really pay attention to, is that some programs that you're operating off of, and there's counters for all of those programs in regards to masculine and feminine as well. So if we could see it through that lens, was we're just contrasting one another for the experience of contrast, to have deeper understanding of things. You have to have one to have the other. If we just had the one, we wouldn't have the other. Hence the contrast part of it. It's the whole experience of the matrix. So of course we have to have a way to represent it, and I have to have a way to understand it so that I can learn how to balance it. One of the biggest reasons this experience exists is to teach us how to hold two opposing things at the same time and not freak out. It's all about being able to hold polarities and stay right in the middle. It's all about being able to be on the end of the spectrum where, hey, y'all, this place really sucks. This planet seems like it's in the shitter right now, and everything seems like it's falling apart. Well, if we can feel all of that on this end of the spectrum, that means that there's got to be a counter to it because all things are equal in this experience because of that binary program that exists. And could you imagine what it would feel like to feel the counter of all of that fear? Well, that equal amount of love is going to exist over on this end of the spectrum. And it's readily available if you go towards it. And suddenly you have awareness that, oh, wait, I have choice about which end of the spectrum I want to navigate from because I have awareness when I was out of alignment with what felt good for me. Those that can hold two opposing forces at the same time and not just move, not from a strength position. There's a lot of people that can hold two opposing forces from a strength position and think that it's strong. And then there's those that can hold the space between two opposing positions with love. And there's a huge difference between those two spaces. When you can be in that space and still be in love, and I'm not talking about being in love with people, or I'm just talking about being in the river of love, in the flow of love, when you're really able to be in the middle and still remain in the flow of love, that's when you transmute things. That's when you change things. That's when your life goes from shit to, oh my gosh, love. That's when things really start to happen. And the more you resist being in those paradoxical moments where things are transitioning in your life and they bring up discomfort and excitement, love and fear, the more you resist those moments, that's fine. But the more you're going to repeat those things. If you want to shift programs, you got to be able to hold that space in the middle and see both sides of the spectrum. See the masculine side, see the feminine side, see the toxic version, see the healthy version of both ends of the spectrum, see how you have embodied both ends of those spectrums over the course of your life by the way that you showed up in relationships with all sorts of different people, friends, partners, boyfriends, girlfriends, all different relationships, the way that you show up in those, all based upon those programs. Having awareness of how all of those things are playing out in your life to a point where you can see and catch yourself going down towards the negative side of the spectrum and say, nope, I'm going towards the positive side. I'm going towards the side that I want. I'm going towards the side that feels right. I'm going towards the side that feels in alignment with me. I'm going towards the side of love. That's when you shift that program from survival and shadow into love and light.